A fiend and an arcanist. Working together. Nightmares will not deter me, demon fawn. Stay your sermons, I won't be swayed.
What is up guys, welcome back. Today I'm going to show you how to play Yone and also how to carry with him. So for the rune setup, we're actually using the perfect setup. His early game is weak, so that's why we have lethal tempo, because that's going to buff his early game, so he kind of bypass that weak early stage. And then we have in the resolve secondary, we have conditioning and overgrowth. So his problem later on in the game, he has a lot of damage, but he's very squishy, right? So these two runes combined is going to make him pretty tanky, while giving him a lot of armor, magic resistance, but also HP. For the gameplay, you start off with a Q, you last hit with a Q. You can also start off with W like I did right here. If you get poked, like if you're playing against a ranged matchup and they will poke you, when you try to walk up and last hit, then you can start with a W because it is AoE. But when you use that shield, try to block out the damage at the same time while also last hitting minions. And when your Q is ready, you just last hit with it. When the knock up Q is ready guys, the one that also makes you dash, be careful that you don't constantly dash forward when trying to last hit, because that gives the enemy champion a very easy chance to poke you down. Keep the lane at your side whenever possible, otherwise you might risk getting ganked a lot, and Yone does not have real mobility. His C gives him a dash and bonus moon speed, but it's always going to drag him back to the main spot, so you cannot really use that for mobility to like escape with. You can use this ability to stall with or dodge stuff, but you can never use it to like escape with. That's a Rammus gang coming in. So Rammus is like the perfect pick against Belveth and then Yone as well. But also, what's important to know about this E here is that when the target is low enough HP to be executed by the E guys, you can look at that mark because it's going to be cut in half and turn black. That way you always know when you can E out. Because when it's cut in half, it means that when you recast that E, it will have enough damage to execute. But also, even though they're low enough HP for you to execute with that E, if they have a shield or healing ability or something and they use it, they will most likely survive. So sometimes they will keep the healing and shielding abilities intentionally trying to bait out your E recast, so keep that in mind as well. So that's like the short way of trading with Yone, is that you stack up the Q on the minions, then you go in with the E, get a knock up on the enemy champion, auto attack shield with a W, then auto attack Q again and then E out. Unless you straight up win the extended fight, then you can keep going, but otherwise for a short trade, try to combo them really fast. So while they're knocked up, that's when you trade, and then you get out before they can trade back. And the E recast works as a shield. And we're gonna get the kill on the Zeri right there, so that exhaust was a bit wasted. But the E works as a cleanse, meaning that you can remove a lot of CC abilities in the game, and it cleanses by when you recast it. Or when you're on the way back to the main body, like when you go from spirit form to the main body, that's when you are unstoppable. So any CC thrown at you there will not work out. Now there's some abilities like the Mordekaiser's ultimate. So normally if you get CC'd like Zoe's bubble, you get hit by that, then you just recast your E and it's gone, right? But with Mordekaiser's ultimate, you have to time that E perfectly. So right the moment when you see the animation go through for his ultimate, when you hear the sound animation, that's when you have to recast that E, because then you completely deny his ultimate. But if you're already inside his ultimate, then you cannot cleanse it unless you have QSS. Your Q and your W scales off of attack speed, that's why you get tier 2 boots like the Berserkers right here. Gives you a lot of early game damage. More attack speed means slower cooldown on your Q as well as your W. Down to a cap of course, but that gives you more damage because you have lower cooldown. And also more mobility to like dodge stuff. Both the Q and the E dash can be used to dash over walls with. So you can dash through many different walls, especially in the bush right here to the jungle side also works. But for some dashes you have to be really close to the wall before you do so. And your ultimate, also another ability that makes you unstoppable. But it can be body block, meaning that if the enemy jungler tries to gank you and use that ultimate to like escape with, if they jump in front of you, then you're going to like stop right behind the first target you hit. Or the last target you hit. So they can make it so you cannot dash the entire distance. But that ultimate does cover a pretty big distance, so you can use that to get over walls with. It's pretty easy to dodge, guys, the ultimate, because it has like a timer before it actually goes off, so they have a lot of time to react to it. So like to be completely sure that you actually get a hit with that ultimate, use the third Q, the knock up, and then follow into the ultimate, so you chain CC people, meaning a guaranteed hit with that ultimate. But it is your all-in ability. If you had to escape, I would much rather have you using that ultimate to escape with than using the flash. Because the ultimate has a lower cooldown. But Yone is a very hard scaling champion if you can get kills early on. I always play aggressive with Yone, even in bad matchups, because it really lets you limit test and know exactly how much damage you can deal with this champion. It lets you know of the damage you can deal, but also how much you can tank. So even if you're in a very bad matchup, then make sure that you play aggressive and learn the limits. It does not mean that you queue up and run it down, of course, but really try to limit test a lot, especially early on when you're learning a new champion like Yone especially. Just limit test a lot, because that is how you learn as fast as possible. We are going for the Blade of the Ruined King, that is his build. Because his early game is somewhat weak, you can still find kills early on. Like if you're better than the opponent, if you have a good matchup, you can still find kills thanks to the lethal tempo, because that actually makes your early game a lot stronger. Which technically allows you to bypass that weak early game into some matchups. But Blade of the Ruined King is going to make your early and mid game even stronger, because that item gives you the strongest one item power spike on melee auto attack heavy champions. That's why you see champions like the Jax and Aurelia rush Blade of the Ruined King. Not sure why I'm getting pinged, because that was pretty obvious. I do not roam. I do not roam if I think it's bad for me. Like right now I just stay mid and I take the plates. I take the plates and also take the waves. That's so worth it for me. That's way better than if I roam bot and try to stop a dive. That's why you never follow your teammates' calls unless you know it's a good call. I always make my own calls and then I follow what I think is the best. And in this case I was absolutely right, because I got all the tower plates and I got a lot of gold from the minions as well. And we also picking up a kill on the Zeri. You can use that ultimate straight up. So when you go E, like you engage with the E, then people know you're gonna go all in, right? So sometimes I like to just use the ultimate straight up. Had to flash out right there, but sometimes I like to use the ultimate straight up, because then people don't really expect it. They always think you're gonna E, then Q, knock up, then into ultimate, or just E and ultimate. But this way you can catch them off guard, get a free gap closer, and then you can go all in. But for the maximum amount of DPS, make sure that you start inside your spirit form, meaning inside your E, because it is going to store some of the damage you're dealing, and then it's going to deal that damage again when you recast the E. But a lot of the times against squishy targets, it is overkill when you start off with the E. Also sometimes it can end up backfiring, because after a short duration it is going to recall you inside that E, so it can actually mean that you'll not be able to chase somebody, or somebody might be able to escape with like 1 HP or something, because you got dragged back to your main body. So keep in mind when it's good to use that E, and that is usually when you need the damage, but also when the target is not able to escape as easily. Just constantly shoving it down and then also take away the chickens. I do this all the time. That is how I get those insanely high CS numbers every single game. Aim for at least 7 CS per minute. We can camp and wait for the Zeri. You saw that mark being cut in half and turned black. That means you just E out and the target is going to get executed by your aim. But always take away the jungle camps as well. Sometimes your jungler will not let you take his camps. In that case, you just shove out the wave when you can, and then you walk into the enemy jungle and take away their camps. You shut them down at the same time while also further extending your lead. No camps right here. The wolf should be up though. We have played the Ruin King that's going to give you insane spike. Also now the conditioning is active because it becomes active at 12 minutes in the game, so you get a lot of armor and magic resistance, and then any armor and MR that you buy from here is going to be amplified. This is one of the best runes in the resolve tree. This and the overgrowth. There's also a very smart way you can use that ultimate, guys, is that, as I said, it also makes you unstoppable. So in this case, if Rammus tried to taunt me, my ultimate will still go through. So you can use that to like dash to the other sides of the wall. Just make sure that if you use that ultimate to escape with, there's nobody in front of you that can like body block it. And you can still be like moved around inside your ultimate, like at the start, when he's going to channel the ultimate, they can still like move you around. But the ultimate will go through no matter what. That's like the difference. Next item is going to be the shield bow, and then into the Infinity Edge, because we have that 2.5 multiplier on the passive, meaning 2 full crit items, and we are going to have maximum crit. This is also a champion that deals mixed damage. Mostly physical damage, but he still has a lot of magic damage in his kit. Like his ultimate, his auto attacks, his W, all deal mixed damage, meaning if people buy armor against you, it does not counter you as hard as something like a Yasuo without his ultimate. So it is a champion that's very hard to itemize against. He also has max health damage on the W. So a lot of nice stats that you have on this champion, and then he's also very good for solo carrying. And people do hate playing against him, so he might get banned a lot in your elo. Depending on where you are playing in, especially in the lower ranks, he tends to get banned a lot. But if you like the hard carry champions like the Aurelia and Yasuo, then Yone will definitely be a champion that you enjoy playing. So in that case, I do recommend that you try him out. He works both in the mid and top lane. Problem though is that he works top lane, but he has some very hard matchups. You do not want to pick him against a Renekton, Pantheon, Zed. AD assassins are really bad. So avoid that if you can. That's a very easy engage with that ultimate. You can easily tower dive people under the tower because your E is like a free get out of jail card. Soraka did yoink that kill, sadly, but doesn't matter that much. We just split pushing. In the mid game, when the first tower goes down or when your bot lane takes down the outer tower, you switch. Meaning that you go bot lane or you go top lane, depending on where the objective is up. If the dragon is up, then you go bot. If the herald is the only objective up, then you go top. Because being the silent is how you maintain your high CS numbers. If you constantly stay mid, somebody's always going to commit, whether it is the AD carry or the jungler or the top laner, meaning that you're going to be sharing the gold. Rebash, you're going to be sharing the gold, meaning you're going to fall behind XP and also gold wise, so you'll not be able to maintain that massive CS lead. So constantly go to the side lanes and then pick up all the gold that you can. That is how I am 10 CS per minute right now. 10 CS per minute is not something you do all the time, of course, but just aim to get at least 7 CS per minute. That is something you should be able to do every single game. And there's a free flank as well. But have the sweeper ready at this stage of the game, because then if you look to flank, then you can also clear out the vision and make sure that nobody can detect you before you actually get the flank off. This is a classic case of using the ultimate to gap close with, not for the damage, but if you can easily kill the target, then just use it to gap close instead of having to use your flash, because flash has a much higher cooldown. And the way you kind of play him in the later stages, it really, like League is a dynamic game, so every game will not be the same. But usually what you do is that you either wait for an ally to engage for you, if you have a frontliner who can do that, like you have a Malphite, you have a Gragas or Sejuani or something, or a Amumu, you let them engage for you and then you follow up. But if you do not have that, then you play him like an assassin. Because he's a mix between an carry and an assassin. By playing like an assassin, you wait in the backlines, you wait for the AD carries to overextend, you wait for them to use important summoners, movement abilities and stuff. Then you go in with that ultimate, you try to hit as many people as possible, but if that's not possible, you hit the main carry, the AD carry, the mage, any squishy target. With the ultimate, chain CC with a Q knock up if possible, otherwise burst them down and then get out. If you can assassinate the squishy carry, then it's a win, it's a big win. But if your team fighting composition is so bad that you're gonna lose every single team fight, no matter how well you play it, then do not group up. Then you start pressuring as a split pusher. You stay in the silence, you force people to come defend against you. You get kills that way and you take objectives, and that's how you pressure. And I can almost guarantee you that your allies will not know how to play with a split pusher, but you do not care about that. You just have to play it right. If you think your allies are going to get caught, try to be there before it happens. But if you can get super high value out of them getting caught, then it does not matter. I'm always taking away the jungle camps. When I clear out the wave, if there are any camps I can take on my way to the next spot, then I always do it. Because you have low cooldowns, you have good wave clear, you can take them out really fast. And just keep pushing. We have a winning team this time, so the game is of course a lot easier than usual. But macro wise and stuff, this is exactly how you want to play Yone, and it's also how you play mid laners and split pushers in general. This is the correct macro. Really making sure that you're picking up waves in the silence and also taking away the jungle camps. Being as efficient as possible with your time. Even if you don't get any kills, just by farming this well, you're gonna be levels ahead of the opponent. Especially if you play in lower elos, because people will never be able to catch up CS wise. Now we're gonna get the finishing core item, the Infinity Edge. That is the big spike, because that's going to give us 100% crit chance. Do not worry about getting more than 100% crit chance, because any excess crit will be turned into bonus AD, similar to Yasuo's passive. So if you need another crit item, for example the Mortal Reminder for the anti-healing, then by all means go for it. We are not gonna waste time chasing this guy, so I'll just go bot lane, show out the wave again, and if a fight starts, then I will be there. Now the Zeri is also looking for a fight, so we will hit back. Well, that is a hyper carry we have on the AD carry role. He's just gonna perma-straight people. So now we have to head back to the lane once again for the minion wave, and then hopefully we can push it out. But this is a massive spike, the 3 item power spike. If you are not able to do anything at all before this spike, now is the time you have to carry. If you cannot carry right here, then the game is over. Because this is the big spike for Yone. You see, I cancelled out the taunt, I ulted out, because there was a Twitch as well inside this queue, so it's a 3 vs 1. Not something you want to mess with right now, but if you can like get multiple hits, if you hit like 3 people at once with the ultimate into the Q knockup, then that's an easy 1 vs 3. But you have to line people up. Recalling, getting the Infinite Edge, and then bam, maximum DPS spike. With 3 items. And then now on, you can go into more tanky items because you already have enough damage. So you can go Guardian Angel, you can go Death Stance, which is another really OP item. You can also go Magic Resistance, you need Force of Nature, Spirit Visage, then you can of course go for it. But that was how to play Yone. Hope this was helpful, thanks for watching and see you all next time.